It's week 4 of my subscriber requests, and this week it's Magma by Gojira. Didn't spend much time working on that introduction. Now at some stage I'm sure somebody is going to request an album that I detest, but it won't be this one. No tension building in this episode then. I was actually very pleased when I got the request through for this one. This is actually filmed later on, but I've just realised this album was requested by Cyle J. So thank you very much, my good friend. Here's the review. Had I been doing reviews back in 2016, there's a very, very real chance that this would have been one of the top albums of the year for me. Absolutely fantastic album. Love this. Any point in listening to the rest of it? You've already told us what you think. The band was formed in 1996, originally called Godzilla, but then later changed the name to Gojira, which is actually the Japanese name for Godzilla. The band started out as a death metal band, I suppose, but with leanings towards prog and a lot of the more technical and proggy side. And they're known for a lot of their very environmentally conscious lyrics. I assume they're vegan due to some of their lyrics. I should have really checked that. I do have a phone here, so I could probably check that, but it's done now, isn't it? The lineup's been pretty much consistent from the beginning. You have Joe Duplantier on guitar and vocals, sometimes flute, I believe. Fluty. Mario Duplantier on drums. Mario, as you may have recognised from the surname, are indeed brothers, joining that elite group of guitar drummer siblings. Dimebag, Vinny, Alex, Eddie. There are others. Christian Andrew on lead guitar, and Jean-Michel, and Jean-Michel Labade on bass. Jean-Michel Labade. The chicks must love this band. The light begins to fade. Magma is the band's 6th studio album, and they actually had a few Grammy nominations. They were nominated for Best Rock Album and also for Best Metal Performance for their song Silvera. Didn't win any. Who gives a fuck about a Grammy? The album was recorded at their own studio, Silver Chord Studios, which I assume is in reference to transcendental meditation. The idea that a silver cord connects the body and the spirit. Well, just look at you. Joe and Mario's mother sadly passed away during the recording of this album, which no doubt influenced its trajectory from that point on. I'm assuming it's cancer she died from. I couldn't actually find anywhere that actually definitively said that's what it was, but I'm guessing from the deterioration that occurred, I'm guessing that's what it was from. Genuine apologies to anybody concerned if I've got my facts wrong on that one. The album contained far more clean vocals than they'd ever done before, and more simplified song structures. I think actually, as far as influences for this album, they kind of went more with more of the Pantera and later Max Cavalera era Sepultura for those more groove-laden and hookier riffs, I suppose. There was an interview that came out prior to the album with Rolling Stone magazine with Joe, and he said that the songs were half written while she was sick. After she died, I still had to finish them. So one song was like, "You're gonna make it," but the second verse is, "You didn't make it." So a very emotional album for the brothers especially. There was also an interview I found with Mario saying that whenever he read Joe's lyrics, he just started crying immediately because he knew exactly where they were coming from, and they were so heartfelt, and he knew exactly what they meant. There lies the review. We shall go towards it. First song is The Shooting Star. This one sets out with an eerie single string guitar line that sets the tone. Much slower and more atmospheric than some of their previous work, and it's something that shows up through many parts of the album. On first listen, this isn't something you'd necessarily expect from an opening song. I think it's about 7 minutes, and there's kind of an expectancy for it to erupt, for it to build into something, as quite often is the case with intros. But this one doesn't. But the more I listen to the album, the more appropriate I think it is. It sets the tone. It's not rushing. It's setting the atmosphere for what's to come. I'll just read out the final lines from the song. Everlasting love is ever growing. Hang on to what you have and let it grow. Everlasting love is ever dying. It's in the past. You have to let it go. I'm assuming this is about their mother passing on. The song has an echoing, reflective feel, as does the rest of the album. Silvera is up next. I mentioned earlier this was nominated for Best Metal Performance. Great song. This is a more traditional Gojira, a hookier riff. Got a bit of a Pantera groove to this one, and some great use of tapping. I'm not sure if this one is about veganism, but one thing I do like in the lyrics, let me just quickly... Time to open your eyes to this genocide. When you clear your mind, you see it all. You're receiving the gold of a better life. When you change yourself, you change the world. Now, I'm not sure if this is talking about veganism in particular, but one thing I love about the lyrics to this song is the idea of self-accountability. When you change yourself, you change the world. I love that sentiment. The idea that the single person can make a difference. You make a difference through your actions. You can talk as much as you want, but it doesn't really do shit. If you act a certain way, if you inspire somebody else, that has a knock-on effect. If you do good, if you lead your life as well as you can, if you stick to your morals as much as you can, and that's not always easy for anyone, but if you can stick to your path, your truth, inevitably that will inspire somebody else. Even if you feel that you as an individual can't make much change, you can, because your actions can directly inspire, negatively as well as positively, somebody else. When I first heard those lyrics, that got me straight away. I just thought that was great lyrics, really great lyrics. Next up we have The Cell. Much faster one, this one. Kind of gets a bit more traditional gent feel in the verses, before going into a more traditional structure for the chorus. Something I found out about this song, I don't know whether it's true or not, but it kind of makes sense. This is possibly about the idea of people being addicted to their phones, but not just phones as an extension of that. Technology in general and social media, I suppose. You're always on tap. We're always living through this. You know, I do. Since I've been doing YouTube, I'm obsessed with stats and analytics and all the rest of it. Anyone who's been on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that will know how easy it is to get lost in that social media world that we hold so dear. That is ultimately so fucking hollow. It really is. Get me out of here. I've been lost in the dark. Get me out of here. I'm locked inside myself. So, I mean, I'm sure it's just a metaphor. I'm sure the whole mobile phone, social media, technology thing is obviously a metaphor for being trapped inside one's head anyway. But it's one that works, very effective. Next up is the standout track for me, Stranded. And I'm saying that purely based on how many times I've played the fucking thing. The chorus in this one is it just gets into your head so quickly and stays there. It just doesn't leave. A far more simplistic riff-based song. Starts out with chugging triplets, and I guess they're using a Digitech whammy pedal to get to raise the octaves for the first riff, before playing the same riff again but without it, which is a great way of playing the same riff and getting some dynamics going. A growing sickness in the heart, defective lack of control. The cure is somewhere in the silence, but I'm crushed by the noise inside. Again, I'm guessing this one's inspired by their mother. Ends with the repeated lines, leave the moment alone, which I guess means just enjoy the now. Don't ruin it. Just leave the moment alone. Enjoy what's going on right now. Very beautiful. Next up we have Yellowstone, which is a bass instrumental essentially. Very nice it is. I don't know if this has any relation to the national park. Yellowstone Park, is there Yellowstone Park? I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me knowing their environmental message that they quite often have, if that's what this was about. As the sun sets on my career. Next up we have Magma, the title track. This is more on the proggier side of Gojira that we all know. You've got triplets, natural harmonics, a lot of arpeggiated lines going on in this one. A lot more going on, musically speaking, than there is on other tracks on the album thus far. Analyse this chemistry, producing poison and creeping in your veins. For the love of blood, the poison slowly spreads through the body and the mind. Close your eyes and drop your things. Be ready to fly. Again, their mother dying has an impact on the lyrics for this song. Magma, indeed, I believe. Isn't magma blood? As well as the larvae? If it was cancer she died from, maybe this is to do with her treatment, chemotherapy, etc. But I don't know that for sure, so maybe I shouldn't be saying that shit. Next up we have Prey. Galloping staccato instrumentation with a voice box effect on the vocals. I could picture this on their previous album, 2012's L'Enfant Sauvage. Very similar in feel to a lot of the songs from that album, I felt. No faith in your world, create my own to thrive. Perhaps this is in relation to rejecting modern practices in the modern world. They certainly don't agree with the way people treat this planet, nor do I, or the way we treat animals, etc., or the way we treat others. So maybe this is rejecting that society, and I don't want any part of this. I'm gonna forge my own thing. I'm gonna get my own thing going. I can relate to that. Only Pain is up next. This has a quite similar riff actually to Stranded, again using the Digitech whammy pedal to get that octave shift. Just wanted to be good, just wanted to be gold, just wanted to be God, just wanted to be. I'll leave the interpretation of this one up to you, I think. Penultimate track, Lowlands. Very emotional song, this one. Kind of, it gets me. Gets my heartstrings, this one, when I hear it. Very big fan of this song. Similar stylistically to The Shooting Star, the opening song. It does have heavier moments in it, but it has that more lulling, atmospheric, haunting atmosphere. The mark of a true artist to me is someone who follows their muse and doesn't do what people think they should be doing. And I like the fact that they've done a few more bits like this on this album. I think that's the mark of a true artist. The artist leads, they don't follow. Tell me what you see in the afterlife. Pardella le ciel, pardella la soil. Don't know if I said that right, but so fucking what. Beautiful. While you drift away from all the plates of this world, you're put out of misery. Giant bones hurt. You won't have to face it again. Every step of the way gets you higher, all the voices trapped underneath the ground. Let them all go in the sky. Find the power lost underneath the ground. Let it all go in the sky. This song gets me, man. This song gets me. You can almost feel Joe, and by extension Mario, just thinking of their mother. Wow. And finally we have Liberation. This is an acoustic instrumental that's very reminiscent of some of the stuff Sepultura was doing in their later albums with Max. Cockeye Ovus, first song that Sepultura did on Chaos AD, where they started experimenting with more native sounding instruments. A beautiful and fitting end to this wonderful album. Essentially two brothers paying tribute to their lost mother. You know, I've heard people slating this album. Fuck you. Fuck you. What a wonderful evening. I said in the introduction that had I been doing reviews back in 2016, very strong chance that this would have been the top of my albums of that year. I enjoy it that much. Huge thanks to Cyle J for requesting this album, because it's one of those albums that I would have loved to have done anyway. So this gave me the perfect opportunity to do it. So thank you, my friend. Hope I did justice with the review. Rather fittingly to the concept of this album and to this review, here are a load of here is a bunch of memorials to people who love to walk these hills. I get a tremendous amount of joy being up here. I really do. I can understand what these people did. How wonderful. That's where I wouldn't mind. Well, let's not go there.